There's Rocky. Hey, hi, Rocky. It's quite cold in here. You can see my breath. Yeah, cold. Anyway, um, yeah, there's a thing in modern society now that I find very interesting, and it's our media and everybody. They're in on it in a big way, and there's a lot of cognitively dissonant people who aren't able to see it. I was looking at a report early this morning when I was here freezing. That was a story that was put out by the CBC. That's the Canadian Broadcast Corporation, which is our Canadian government broadcaster. So it's totally funded by the government of Canada. And of course, the government of Canada is a lying thing, to put it mildly. Terrible lying thing. So, of course, the CBC is a lying thing as well. And they had a story there about how Joe Biden has pardoned his son Hunter for all his crimes because Hunter was suffering from addiction issues when he committed his crimes and all that. You know, the U.S. government has executed people for crimes they committed while they were suffering from addiction issues. People who have robbed places and then that escalated to murder and whatnot. The U.S. government has executed people for that. Of course, those people were peasants, so their lives weren't worth as much as Hunter Biden's life. I guess that must be what it is. But this report by the CBC was so slanted, it was pathetic. I can understand better, though, from watching that, people like my mother. My mother hates Trump. She loves Biden and she hates Trump. And she's saying all this stuff, what she say on the phone to me about how Trump is going to put everybody into slavery and he's going to use the system to destroy his enemies and all the rest of it. That's actually using the system to destroy their enemies. That's actually something that Biden and Harris and their bunch were doing. So, and then they said about how he promoted the lie that the 2020 election was stolen. Well, it's not a lie. I mean, it's actually been proven. They had people voting who have been deceased since the 1960s in that election. Of course, they all voted Democrat. All the dead people vote Democrat, it seems. You know, especially dead people that have been dead for 60 years. If you died 60 years ago, you're a Democrat voter, it seems. Maybe that's got something to do with John Kennedy. I don't know. Because they all love John Kennedy. So maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But that might be why all the people that died 60 years ago, they're still stuck in that time warp when John Kennedy was president. And he was actually, well, I wouldn't say he was a decent person, because in many respects he wasn't. In his personal life, at least, he wasn't. But he was a decent president, and he was at least on the side of human rights and civil rights and things like that. So, and he was going after, him and his brother Bobby were going after the mafia, which had infiltrated the U.S. government at the time. And they were trying to clean that up and everything. And of course, they shot him. They killed him because they killed both of them for all that. I mean, that wasn't just a couple of nut jobs with rifles, shooting out windows of nearby buildings. There was a lot more to it than that. Anyway, the bottom line is, it was a very slanted report. And all I can tell you is it's a pretty simple philosophy that I have about all this stuff that's happening. And that is, if you have to change the rules of science, misquote scripture or change the definition of words in order to uphold your narrative, you're a liar. It's as simple as that. You're a liar. And I have seen so much of that in the last few years where there, people misquoting scripture, trying to make out like God endorses whatever sin they're trying to promote, or changing science, changing the rules of science to say that, oh no, for 1,000 years it's worked this way, but now all of a sudden it works this other way instead, or changing the definition of a word, whether that word is the word vaccination or whether that word is the word man or the word woman. They want to change the definition. Oh no, that no longer means, like, oh, no, it's no longer XX chromosomes and XY chromosomes. No, that's no longer a thing. Now the definition goes by how you feel. You might have XY chromosomes, and you might have a friggin' big bushy beard, and you might have a 10-inch long dick hanging between your legs. But if you think you're a woman, then everybody's got to dance around your belief that you're a woman and go along with you on that. And in fact, the taxpayer has to fund your surgery so that your big dick can be removed and turned, and you can have a vagina instead, and all that. And it's like, no, like, look, you're dealing with it's mental illness. That's what it is. It's a mental illness. When people believe that things that are clearly not true, where there's no possible way they can be true or true, if you're a man and you believe you're a woman, like, look, I'm a man. I was born a man. I've got male genitals. I think the way a man typically thinks. Because men and women do think differently, despite all the stories now to the contrary that they don't. They do. They do think differently. And, I'm a man. That's all. I'm not a woman. Look, I know what women look like. I know what women are like. I've dealt with women. I know what female genitals look like. And so on like that. I know the difference. And I can tell you right now, I am not a woman. And, and I don't believe I am a woman because I don't suffer from gender dysphoria, which is a mental illness. And the thing is, you can throw as much money as you want, and you spend as much time, as much effort as you want, catering to a mental illness, and it won't make a bit of difference. That person will still be mentally ill. You can't endorse and indulge these things and expect it to get better. It only gets worse. And doesn't matter what it is. I mean, like, if you're dealing with a schizophrenic and they're seeing things and they're hearing things and it's all in their mind, but to them it's real, to be fair, they believe it's real. And I've dealt with these people. I've had schizophrenics. I had one schizophrenic that was trying to kill me. Actually was trying to kill me because he thought I was trying to take his girlfriend away from him because I left a bucket of dirty old golf balls at her place for her teenage sons to knock off the hill behind the house. And he decided based on that I was trying to take his woman away from him. And he was going to murder me. And also because he read in the Bible, because apparently he is also an angel of death sent to the earth by the Lord to destroy the wicked. And there's a list in the Bible, in the book of Revelation, of people he's supposed to kill. his assignments from God, basically. Wicked people he's supposed to get rid of. And apparently my name is on that list. Now, only he can see that list. So don't look for it in the Bible, because only he can see it, because he's an angel of death sent by God. That I had that guy to deal with. Now, I didn't indulge his I didn't engage with him any more than I had to, and when I did engage with him, it was just strictly with him coming after me, and then me doing or saying whatever I needed to do or say to back him off. But the bottom line is, I didn't indulge his fantasies, though, or his delusions. I didn't tell him that I believed him, that he was an angel of death, and that he was sent here by God to kill me. I mean, I didn't tell him that I believed him. I didn't contradict it either. I didn't tell him it was all bullshit, because I knew there was no point, because to him it was real. But here's the thing. He's the guy I talk about in another video. I ended up following him around for a couple of weeks and tracking his movements. He didn't even know I was there. And I had it all written down. And I got all his personal information too. I'd be a good detective. I'll find things out, you know. But I got all his personal information, his home address, his date of birth, a whole bunch of stuff. His driver's license number. I got all of that, and I had it all written in the book. And I handed it to his girlfriend one day when I met her in the driveway. I was there to visit friends of mine that lived downstairs of her, and I told her, I said, you give this to Larry and let him know that any one of these times that I saw him here, he didn't even know I was there. I could have taken him out any one of those times. So he might want to back off. And after that, he was terrified of me. But I had no more trouble with him. He was also a police informant, so I got harassed by the OPP. I was being harassed by the OPP at the time, too, because he was a police informant. He was making drug buys for the Ontario Provincial Police, is what he was doing. So they were giving them bills that they had recorded the serial numbers on to buy dope. And then they let him keep the dope. And they let him keep the dope and that he bought. Except maybe there may be a little bit they had to keep for evidence or something, but they let him keep the bulk of it. And then they go in and make the arrest. And of course, if the drug dealer had their bills with the recorded serial numbers in his possession, that proved that the buy had occurred. Anyway, so that's what I was dealing with. But I can tell you right now, indulging the mental illness would not have helped. It would have made things worse, you know. But anyway, like I say, if you have to change the rules of science, if you have to misquote scripture, or if you have to if you have to change the rules of science, misquote scripture, or change the definition of words in order to uphold your narrative, then your narrative is a lie. It's as simple as that. Your narrative is a lie. Anyway, have a good day. There's Rocky. He don't get involved in all this crap. He just sleeps and eats and occasionally hunts some mice. Yes, poor little guy. He's freezing cold, he is. He's been cold all night. And I know how he feels, because I've been the same way. Okay, there he is. All right, talk later.